Yeah, hi everyone. Welcome to my Surface Pro 3 unboxing. Just bought this today as it's been released around the world in an extra 20 or so markets, and including my own, so I couldn't resist it. I went out and bought one. I had been using the as a previous tablet up until today, and I still will use this because it's actually very good, a Surface RT, the very first Surface, which I've found really very good to use. Quite happy with that. Underrated tablet, and quite satisfactory. I got the this cover with it, which is falling to pieces, but what the hell. Obviously for my Surface Pro 3 I bought this thing. How tasty is that? Nice. And it looks beautiful in the case. I mean, these things look so nice. I mean, seeing the thing and feeling it in person is definitely a step up from the old cover. It feels better. They've given it a thicker edge, bit of a welded seam around the edge, because the old one used to fall to pieces, and of course it's got that extra magnet in there to give it more stability, all of which is pretty cool. So we'll have a look at that as well. Now, obviously I've been following the forums for ages now, reading all the posts about heat and noise. Heat and noise are the biggest concern for me. I love these tablets like the old one because it hasn't got a fan. There's no fan. The whole thing's cooled passively just through the case. It doesn't even get hot, so hardly needs any cooling. This, on the other hand, needs cooling, and so they've basically squeezed the Surface Pro 2 into a case only as thick as the Surface RT. And so it's got a fan. That's a worry. I can't have the thing being noisy. I don't worry too much about it being hot, but I worry about the noise, and I do worry about it being sitting on my bed in the sheets. You know, you fall asleep and it sits in the sheets and it gets all covered up, and if that just causes it to overheat and die every night, that's not so good either. So it's a bit of a concern. The forum posts go on, the current forum posts go on about the lot number. So I went into the shop and I sort of said, oh, what lot? And I looked at the box to see the lot numbers, because I was aware that lots, 1429 and 1430 were the ones that weren't so great, but I was hoping by the time they got it down here to my country that it would be well past that. But it is not. In fact, the two he pulled out, the Core i5 was 1429 and the Core i7 was 1430. So I just had to take a risk. I told the guy about the heat and the noise problems and so on, and I said, if it's terrible, I'm bringing it back. And so there's a right of return period of a week or two, so I will make use of that and return it if it just doesn't, if it's really too awful to bear. But we'll see how it goes. So for now, let's get into it. I bought the Core i5 256 gigabyte model. The choices were between that and the Core i7 256, which was quite a lot more expensive, probably more than I want to spend on a device. I do think people complain too much about the price, because I mean, you can buy the bottom line model is quite cheap, I think. I mean, I don't know when 800 US became too expensive for a computer. That is really, the pinnacle of this type of design. I mean, come on. I mean, I may be from a different era, but computers used to cost a lot, and I mean, this is $1,800 where I'm from here, but it's not that long ago where $1,800 just got you a very basic laptop. So, I don't see the problem with the price at all. Let's get into it. You don't have to cut these open, you can just use your fingernail. Ouch. Ow. Jam the piece of plastic up your fingernail. Ooh. What's that? Fingernail torture they used to do with bamboo shoots up the fingernails or something? Might have been a Get Smart episode I'm thinking about, so let's pull that off. There we go. Pull it out. Oh, how tasty is that? It's a bit dusty. Well, that's a box. You've probably seen plenty of these unboxings, so let's go in here first. Don't you hate the bit where they go on about what's in the box? The power supply. Yeah, okay. The lead. Yeah, okay. What do you do? However, I'll have a look. It's got a very short lead on that end. Okay, this is smaller than the old Surface Pro power supply. At least the one that I have, which is from the Surface Pro 1, and it's bigger than the RT power supply, but it's got that nice extra feature of the USB port there, so you can plug your phone in that and not have to use the socket on the device to charge your phone. So that's excellent. And this thing here is of course supposed to be greatly improved and should slide in and out much easier than the old one. The one on the RT was actually quite difficult to use, and that lead looks quite long and sturdy, so that's quite nice. Yep, nice power supply. Anything else in there? Nothing else in there. I wonder why it's in that box. I could have just put it in there. Oh well. What the hell? And now under here I expect to see, oh, let's see what it's like here. So I'm comparing this with a, what's fallen out. There's the quadruple A battery that many people don't seem to have come across before. And I've seen plenty of those. And the pen, which is, people kept saying it was bigger and heavier, but that's a very lightweight pen. I thought it was supposed to be, yeah, it's a piece of aluminium. That's nice. And in there, I don't know what that says. Oh, there we go. It's telling us how to put the batteries in, and it's so tiny I can hardly see it. I think it's telling me to unscrew I don't know what it's telling me to do. I'm going to look at that with a magnifier. So it's saying, oh, there's a screw head in there. That's what it's saying. Well, why doesn't it say that on this piece of paper? Well, that's a bit weird. See, there's actually this little instruction sheet is telling me to, you know, how to replace the batteries or how to pull the batteries out. But it says nothing about the fact there's actually a Phillips screw head inside there that I'm supposed to be mucking with. Let me do that. I shall get a screwdriver. Oh dear. Oh, there we go. So if you're buying a Surface Pro 3, make sure you turn up with a screwdriver at your unboxing. Oh, and that's too big for it. This isn't going too well straight off the bat, is it? This one will have to do. It's not a Phillips, but it'll work. I see what's going on. I don't actually have to go in there because the batteries are in there. For some reason I thought the batteries were sitting around the case. That was a bit silly of me. So all it's saying is that when time comes to replace these batteries, then I'm going to have to use a it's not even a Phillips, it's sort of a clover-shaped opening. So that's not going to work very well. It's actually too small for this. This is the wrong size. We will just leave that, and we'll assume that those last for many months, which they probably will. So for our purposes, all we're trying to do is put the, it doesn't say either about the polarity, but we'll assume of course that this side here goes down the hole and that side is on top because it's got the spring-loaded end on it. The pen feels sturdy. It's very lightweight, So I remember people saying it was heavy, but it's not heavy at all. It's extremely lightweight. I mean, it just weighs next to nothing. It's got a little pen clip. You see lots of videos where the reviewers are trying to figure out where to put the pen, and they supplied that funny little thing. I've just got one opinion on that. A pen belongs in your pocket, and that's what that's for. For putting it in your pocket, like every other pen you've ever had. So that's where that's going to go. You know, this idea of sticking it on the device, just I know old tablet PCs used to do that, and old PDAs, but you know, when you walk around with a piece of paper, you don't sit around going, oh, I need to shove the pen in the piece of paper somewhere. That's not how it goes. And here's some info, all of which I will leave as is. And I suppose there's no Easter eggs under there. No. Okay. Okay, well, it's moving on. Let's get into the actual device itself. All right. Now, obviously I might be returning this if it misbehaves. So I'm going to keep all of this in good order. There we go. Nice. Oopsie. Right, this may not be as easy as I thought. Oh, it's all electric and it's sticking to my desk. Oh dear. Let me just put that back like that. And I'll just put it in the case like that. There we go. That's fine. As we aren't interested in that, we're interested in this. Well, how does it feel? Let's see how it feels. That's weird, the thing on the side. As soon as I saw them show this at that event, at the launch event, I immediately looked at that and I just thought, well, that's a stupid place for that. That's going to be right under here. Because previously it was in the middle, which was also a stupid place because, like, my mother's got one of these, and all she does is hold it like this, with her thumb there, in the middle, because it's in the middle, where you need to balance it. It's constantly hitting the start button. You know, sits down and goes like that, hits the button all the time. You know, this idea that you should hold it there and be off-center is just not right. You want to hold it there, like a book. And so they moved it from there, and now it's there, where, you know, you want to hold it. Oops. Dropped something. And so I don't think that's very smart. I don't think they should have those buttons. I think they're just there for Apple users. You know, it's not a proper hardware button anyway. Get rid of it. Yeah, it's just an unnecessary button. So, or let you turn it off. But of course, although there's some kind of reg hack where you can disable that, I understand it also disables the other buttons, which is just pointless. So, now, let's have a look. The button's on the other side from the RT. The volume's on the same side. That's closer to the top, which is nice, because on the RT I'm always trying to find it in the dark, trying to find that socket. So up near the edge will probably help a little bit. I do think this is extremely delicate. I mean, any knock on these edges is going to crack the screen. Nice to have the speakers at the front. I appreciate that very much. And obviously the USB and the display port and all that sort of thing is fantastic. There's the power thing. Let's see how that works. Let's see how well that works. There it is. Yeah, straight in. Straight in. Straight in. How about the other way? Yeah. I mean, that goes straight in. Oops. It's quite plasticky, this piece. On the other one it was metal. This is just plastic. But that sort of gives it a bit of smoothness as you go in. It's quite good. I can't see that light that the old one had. It had a little light on it here that would show you that it was on and that it was charging. Can't see that in here in this case, but whatever. Now, what about the weight? How does it compare to this thing? The old one. Oh, can tell already it's lighter. Yeah, you can just tell it's lighter. This is a bit heavier. I'm assuming it's heavier. I think it is. So the new one's lighter, and in terms of thickness, they are just about the same. Just about exactly the same. So that's nice. That's really good, because we like the size and shape of this one. Don't like the 16 by 9, but I like the rest of it. Now, back to this device. What do we do next? Shall we turn it on, or shall we have a look at the kickstand? I like that they've given you a little thing on both sides. I don't know why they only put one on the left on the old one. That seemed ridiculous. But I'm expecting this to be a lot heavier to pull out. And then, alright, so the first bit, right, I see. So the first part, from 0 to that first bit here, is actually totally loose. 0 to whatever that was, 15 degrees or something. It's actually quite loose. And there's a magnet holding it down or something, I think. Yeah, it feels like it's got magnets holding it somewhere to keep it from flopping. And it's, as I say, it's completely floppy up to there. And then when you get to that angle, it firms up. And it's very firm. There's a slop in it, which is surprising. I fully expected this to not have any slop. But yeah, there's slop in it. I might have a look at some in the shops to see if they're like that. I expected this to be perfectly machined so that it would have no slop at all. So that's quite surprising. Oh well. It's not quite as nice, because the old one always had a beautiful feel to it. This one here is sloppy. Yeah. Oh well. However, the main point is it's firm. Yeah, it's definitely firm. I mean, that's not going to budge. You can put your hand on that, especially on this disc, of course. But I'm really looking forward to using it at the lowest angle like that, because to me, that's how I want to be in a cafe reading my news. Exactly on that angle. Let me go up a little bit. Oh yeah, that'll hold even at the angles just a bit further up. I think, yeah, that'll work. And I'll have to see what it's like on a smooth table, but that's actually working really well. It is firm, just sloppy. Very surprising. Yeah. Okay. Let's turn it on. I'm surprised it hasn't come on yet from me fiddling with it. Is that going to do it? Is there any power in it? That's the question. Oh yeah, there we go. There's some power. Sorry for wobbling my webcam like that, but my desk here is all very loose and badly set up. It's just the way it is. This will probably go through a whole setup. So I guess I'll probably stop the video at that point. Maybe I don't need to go through all that. I can just show you the Surface Pro, the keyboard. Maybe I'll do that. Let me do that. I'm going to turn this off. It looks beautiful, I can tell. Yeah, it looks really nice. And the screen comes on, and there's no bleed or anything. That's nice. So I'm going to turn that off, put that away, and open the cover. Let's open the type cover instead of turning it on, because turning it on and going through the setup is boring. That's for me to enjoy myself. I'm not going to put you through that. So now this piece, another one of these little tabs to open. There we go. Oh yes. People complain about this not being included. It would be nice if it were included. Of course, everything would be nice. That thing there, that's that little tab thing for putting the pen through. I think that stays right there. That doesn't need to be taken out of the box ever. That's a completely pointless thing to have. And let's look at the keyboard. I had a look at this in store, and it's really nice. Really nice. I didn't buy the touch one for the RT, partly because it was more expensive, but also because I was quite happy with the you know, the flat thing. I thought it was quite neat, and it works really well. This is actually this. Yeah, it's sort of got a little bit of a clickiness to it, which makes it feel quite good. Yeah, I'll get to that. At least you've got your number keys, which is nice to have, you know, compared with the on-screen keyboard, which you don't. And it's backlit, which is fantastic. It's backlit. There's the trackpad. People go on about the trackpad being much better. It's obviously way better than the one on this keyboard, as you can see. The old and the new. You can see the new is much bigger, you know, big enough, and just gives you more room. And this one, it was the finish. I don't know, there was something about it that just made it sort of hard to use. It just didn't respond very well. This one should be a lot better. It's got a click. It's got a click that's everywhere on it. The old one didn't. You sort of had to just bash it, like these keys as well. This one has a click all over the place. I presume it's a left and a right. Funnily enough, I just noticed, I thought this was like laminated or glued to it, but I just see when I press in, see the gap there? Increases. It's not actually touching it, so I'm assuming that you're going to fill it up with dirt. Don't spill your coffee on this, because it'll all run inside there probably. I'm not a big user of the trackpad. I actually use the screen. You know, that's the whole point of Windows touch devices. So when people go on and on about this, you know, when they're comparing it like to a MacBook Air, well, on a Mac you have to use that. You haven't got a choice. But on this thing, you just go, you know, operate your screen. That's the whole point. It's a tablet. I mean, it's a touch screen, and so that's really nice. I have a lot of trouble with the spacebar on this, so this should hopefully be a lot better. I like how they've chamfered this front edge so that your thumb rests quite nicely in there. Yeah, I think this will look good. Okay. Oh, the back is really nice. This finish on the back. I hope my camera hasn't been out of focus the whole time. But the finish on the back here is sort of a velvety looking. It's much smoother than it was on the old keyboard, which was quite felt. It was like felt. This is much smoother. I like them both. This might not be as rugged. This was very rugged. If you got it dirty, it would always clean up quite nicely. So this might not be as rugged. We'll see. I mean, I bet it'll start showing marks and scuffs. You know, stuff picking up crap off the cafe tables. That happens quite a lot. That's okay. And they've, as I say, they've given it this edge here because these ones here, they come apart like that. It's just they're not that well glued together along the edge, and so they come apart and you can get inside them. As well, the gluing up here comes off. I need to glue this one back together. I mean, it's sort of tough, but just the glue is not holding well. And so this one, I'm expecting that to be a lot better. This edge, as you can see, is much thicker. And of course we have these extra magnets, or this extra strip in here, which attaches to the magnets, which are probably inside the yeah, oh no, there's magnets in here. Yep. So they're in there as well. Nice. Okay, looks pretty good. Let's put it all together. That's definitely bigger. Plunk. There we go. You're going to go like that. You're going to put it up. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Very good. I mean, this concept here with this hinge thing, I think that's good. It wasn't necessarily, I mean, it's a way to make, give something a bit of stiffness like that by bending it back against itself so that it, there's less flop in it. They could have done that, someone could set about and make a proper hinge. It could go in with a magnet, but then it could actually have a hinge, a real hinge, and be solid, not just a bit of floppy, plasticky stuff. And that would also be firm, that could be done. But this sort of gives it a bit of sturdiness without having to go so far as making an actual metal hinge. I think the downside is obvious. You can no longer swipe up from the bottom. You can't get to the start button, so that's up there. And as for the swiping up, well, you can swipe from the top, which does exactly the same, so I'll need to get used to that when I've got it in this mode. And presumably I can swipe up from here. I'm not sure. I presume the trackpad will still do those things. So that's quite nice. I'll just turn it off. I'll need to get used to the button being on the other side. Okay. There we go. Okay. Feels pretty good. One thing is that I always use the other tablet like this. I flip that over, and because it's got this extra hinge thing, I didn't think it would work as well, and it doesn't. It doesn't actually work as well. It's going to last a lot longer, I can tell, because it's got that extra place it can fold, but it doesn't fold flat. Yeah, it doesn't fold perfectly flat. Oh, and it doesn't cover up to here either. Look at that. Okay, well, let me do the next thing I always do, which is this. I go like that. Okay. Problem there is this sticks out quite a long way, this edge here. On the old one, I'd always hold it like that. And oh, actually that sticks out quite a way as well. I never noticed that. Isn't that funny? Okay, well, there we go. It's the same. Funny how I noticed that on this one. I didn't notice it on the old one so much. Yeah, see, that extra flop is not so great. It'd be nice if it had magnets in the back as well to hold that thing on. That would be better. So I do it like that so you can keep the keys covered, put it down and not have the keys get full of chewing gum or whatever the hell he's, putting it down on. And so I use it like that in a cafe. Oh, I guess the issue here, yeah, so I'd be going like this. This is what matters. So you go like that, it's going to rest on the keys. I wonder if that'll catch and damage the keys at all. Could do. Not crazy about that floppiness. But it still lets you use it like this, which is quite good. That's what I'm looking forward to, is sitting down, having a read, operating it like this. And for drawing, of course, I mean, that's ideal. Taking notes, couldn't be better. And of course, for using the on-screen keyboard, perfect. Yeah, I think that's great. If you have to use this on a plane, again, that's perfect. As I say, you're not allowed laptops on planes. Where in situations where you are allowed tablets, and well, this will do very nicely. That'll fit on a tray with room to spare. I don't like this flop. I'm going to have to go into the shop and check that out and see if they're all like that, because that's surprisingly floppy. It's also interesting. Let's turn this thing off. This edge up here is very sharp. What's it got there? It's got a plastic insert. Okay, it's got a little plastic insert, and it's like it's using it as feet. So when this is resting on the table, it's not actually resting with this edge. It's just resting there with that foot and with that foot. And that's plastic. Yeah, so effectively it's got a little plastic foot. Oh, very interesting. And it comes around there. Right. I guess they probably ran into trouble with the stability, you know, with the straight edge. If you're running a straight edge along a table, obviously it's, you know, the table is not likely to be straight. There'll be stuff on it, there'll be dings in it, and it might not sit very sturdy, whereas if it's just got the two, you know, it's acting almost like a tripod, this one long edge and then the two short ones. It might help it, stop it from going tick, 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 you know. It might help that, possibly. Now I also saw some posts that were concerned about the strength of the glass. I think the glass is probably excessively thin, and that's going to be you know, going to be trying to be very careful with it. But yes, someone pointed out that these holes were actually holes. And yep, that microphone hole is an actual hole drilled into the glass. That's pretty scary. So I'm going to leave this at that. I don't think there's much point doing a lot more. Nothing's come on. It's not warm. I haven't heard the fan, but I haven't done anything, so I'm going to do that now. I'm going to set this up while I do something else. I'll just turn it on, let it do all the updates, and we'll see how it runs. We'll see what the happens with the heat and the noise, and see if it gets bad or what. So sorry for this being a bit of a long and boring one, but that's if you watch my videos. It's my wife. She's not laughing at me. She's laughing at a TV show, truly. But yeah, sorry for my long and boring video as always, but if you know me, you're used to that. So thanks for watching. I will try and make the next one a little bit more interesting, where I'm going to look at the, you know, the performance and the screen, the heat. That's a biggie. I'm going to look at that. I might look at the throttling if I notice it to be a problem. I'm not sure I will. We'll see about that. So in any case, look forward to seeing you again on the next video. So catch you all soon.